Hey everyone, Neil here from Post to Post. A couple days ago, I decided to go on a bit of a search on the internet and look at the attendance numbers from the NHL per season in the last couple of years. We did a video like this, I don't know, maybe 3-4 years ago, whatever it was. It was a lot of fun, and I thought it was time to do it again because the attendance numbers can tell quite a bit about an NHL team, but you also have to realize that attendance isn't everything. Some teams are capped by actual capacity at arenas. So we have to keep this in mind when we're looking at the data. Speaking of which, let's dive in and let's look at 5 recent seasons in the NHL and kind of dig into it and see what's surprising and see what's not. So the first season I want to look at, I'll bring it up on the screen for you, is 2017 to 2018. The other seasons we're going to look at is 2018 to 2019, 2019 to 2020, 2021 to 2022, and 2022 to 2023. 2020 to 2021 data is not available, okay? If it's out there, I could not find it. Also, the season of 2023 to 2024, not available as of yet. It's a pretty recent season, so maybe the data is just not publicly available, I'm not sure. But those are the seasons that we're going to go through, those 5. Starting off with 2017, 2018, I've highlighted and read some surprises or some things that shocked me a little bit. So Chicago being at the top, not really a surprise. Tremendous fan base, huge arena. Not a surprise to see them there at the top. Same with Montreal Canadiens, great fan base, large, big arena, whatever. But the capacity, 109.8% for Chicago, which is over capacity. How's that possible? Well, some arenas, I'm not actually sure if this is true in Chicago, but it's the only thing that makes sense to me. Some arenas have standing room. I suspect that's what that extra percentage is, I guess. I think the capacity at 100% is based on seats available. But people in the arena exceeds the 100% and gets it to that 109.8. If you're from Chicago, let me know. And then the Montreal Canadiens also above 100%, 100.10%. Okay. Now, along the left, I've got Philadelphia and the Detroit Red Wings highlighted because I just thinking about this specific season back in 2017, 2018, and who was good, who was bad, all the potential trades that happened, the rookies that came into the NHL. I'm kind of thinking of all these things. I wouldn't have pegged the Philadelphia Flyers to be that high in third. I never would have done it. I'm really talking about average attendance, by the way. Total capacity, total attendance is another thing. Percentage is another thing, but I'm really only focused on average attendance. That's what this kind of is ranked on, essentially. Now, Philadelphia, huge fan base. I did not expect them to be third. Same with the Detroit Red Wings, specifically because in 2017, 2018, if I'm not mistaken, 2016, 2017 was the year that they missed the playoffs for the first time in 25 years or something. I think it was, something like that. So it was a bit of a letdown. It's when the team really went through a transition phase or started the transition phase. They're still kind of in it, I guess. But I really felt like because the team was on a downward slope, that attendance might slip a little bit. But it really didn't. This was also around the transition period where it was one of the last years in the. I think it was one of the last years. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, I just looked it up. It actually happened a little bit earlier than I thought. So in April 2017, the Red Wings hosted their final game at that arena before they moved on to the Little Caesars Arena. I think they're in now. So that's an interesting number, actually. That is 19,515. This would have been in their first year in the new arena. So that actually is probably, hey, we just got a new arena. Let's go check it out. It's brand new. Maybe maybe the numbers there are skewed a little bit because of the new excitement around the arena. Not so much the team because they weren't great in that season. The Toronto Maple Leafs being up there high, they know that's expected. Some of the other teams as well. But the Buffalo Sabres being in 12th at 18,563 average attendance for the year. That's higher than I thought. I think it might have something to do with maybe some specific rookies around that time that could be on the team. However, it is definitely a little higher than I thought. And then down below, Colorado Avalanche at only 15,586, if I'm not mistaken. This was either, I think maybe just after the Patrick Roy years or at the tail end of it. I can't remember. But I just thought that Colorado would be a little bit higher than that even. It's just a little bit low. Now, I've highlighted the number of 15,321 next to the Winnipeg Jets because that's not really a bad thing. They have this one of the smallest, if not the smallest, arena in the NHL. That's not really a shot at Winnipeg. You can't, that's basically their capacity. It's around 15,000 or 16,000 or whatever it is. So yes, they're ranked low in 27th. Yes, that number's low, but you have to remember where they play. That's one of that data, those pieces of data that you have to, when you look at the whole set, you have to kind of consider that. That's not really a bad thing for Winnipeg. them having a small arena is a bad thing for Winnipeg, but the specific number here isn't really a bad thing for Winnipeg. So any Jets fan looking at that, though, it doesn't have to be upset that they're that low. 2018, 2019. Let's move on to the next season. So a couple of numbers here to go through. So I've highlighted again the Chicago Blackhawks, who are in first place for average attendance at 108.5% capacity. I just think that's funny. The Flyers are in third place. That's amazing. Like, the Flyers were high in the previous season, they're high in this season. It's great to see so much attendance, average attendance in Philadelphia. I would have thought that it would be a little bit lower. Detroit still holding strong up there. Tampa Bay really making that surge and becoming a great team around this time. Minnesota Wild, 18,907. That's great to see Minnesota Wild so high. Calgary Flames also. I felt like this was maybe a little bit high for Calgary. I would have expected them to be maybe slightly lower, I guess. But then all the way down, again, I've highlighted Winnipeg just to call it the 15,321. But the Devils, a little bit lower than I thought they would be. The Ottawa Senators, 14,553. I think this was near the year where they were like blocking off seats because they couldn't sell them. They were like putting banners and ads and stuff up high in the sections so they couldn't sell seats. So there's some controversy in Ottawa around this time. Arizona, only 13,989. I mean, that's a story that has existed for 2 decades. Florida Panthers, 12,919. It's weird to see Florida so low based on what just happened to the NHL in the past couple of years. So it's just very strange, the swing of things just in a couple of years for the Florida Panthers. Moving on to the next season, 2019 to 2020. This was a bit of an odd year because of the pandemic and stuff. But again, Chicago at 108.7%. Dallas really getting up there. Dallas started to chug along success-wise. They made some big playoffs runs specifically in this year, so that was a great team. They're still chugging along. Tampa Bay still up there. Calgary Flames are really reaching up into 7th there. Detroit starting to fall a little bit, but still pretty high. Colorado Avalanche went from low to high. Now they're in the top 10 in this year. Vancouver Canucks I also felt was a little bit high, so a lot of teams kind of moved up the list for me in terms of like what I would expect or where would I expect them to be. And then the Ottawa Senators down to 12,618. That is so low. We're going to skip a season because the data is not available from 2020 to 2021, so we'll do 2021 to 2022. And Tampa Bay Lightning leading the pack, 19,092 at 100% capacity even. The Washington Capitals, 18,573 in second place. Now, the Capitals won the Stanley Cup in 2018. They remained a good team, so it's not super surprising to see them that high. I wouldn't have put them second place essentially. And I just realized that I said the Winnipeg Jets were in 27th a couple of seasons ago. I didn't count the first part of the team. So really they were in 26th. But we got the Minnesota Wild in 3rd, Nashville Predators in 4th. Great to see Nashville so high there. Vegas Golden Knights, they've been in the league at this point for a couple of years and very good, might I add. So attendance is up. And then the Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues also high. I thought that, maybe after the 2019 Cup run for both of those teams, we might see them higher maybe the following year. But this year, both teams had really good attendance. Down below, Winnipeg Jets, even lower, 12,716. So they're really averaging about 3,000 less fans per game during this season. San Jose Sharks, terrible, 12,573. Buffalo Sabres, 9,997, under 10,000. Unacceptable. Ottawa Senators, 9,155. Terrible numbers. Now, I will say that this is 2021, 2022, so there would have been, I think, maybe some restrictions for certain teams, depending on the province, depending on the state. I can't really remember. It's all a blur now. But that could be skewing some of the numbers, because you will notice that none of the teams are above 20,000 average. So Chicago, which was, I think, at like 22 or something in a previous season, is only at 18,489. So could be some pandemic-related things here. The next season is our final season, 2022 to 2023, or at least the final season we have data for. Montreal Canadiens leading the pack, 21,099 at 100% capacity. Edmonton Oilers, really not a surprise here. They've been surging big time. Beautiful arena, huge arena. It's amazing. If you haven't gone, you need to go. It's so good. Tampa Bay up there, not a surprise. Red Wings, still holding strong. Incredible. I love seeing that. Even though the team is down and out for 4 or 5 years, or whatever it's been, the fans still support the team. That's great to see in a brand new arena, especially. Really, that investment is paying off. It's so great that they were able to get that arena. A lot of nostalgia in the old arena, but the new arena is great. And now the team is doing pretty good. they're like, as I'm filming this, fighting hard for a playoff spot. Not only a playoff spot, in top 3 in the division, which is pretty cool. So moving down the list, we got Vancouver, which is higher than I thought. Carolina, which is maybe a little bit higher than I thought, but not too bad. Florida Panthers, that like you saw them just skyrocket basically up the list. They were down in like the bottom 5. Now they're up in the top 10. Minnesota Wild still quite high. New Jersey Devils have made up some ground. Ottawa Senators have made up some ground, almost doubling from the previous season, which is great to see. But the San Jose Sharks, 13,559. Winnipeg Jets, 13,490. These numbers are lower than what they should be. And the Arizona Coyotes, 4,600. Well, we all know why that happened, so not really much to say there. One final piece of data I want to look at is I have done a average of the averages, if that makes sense. So I've gone through all 5 seasons. I actually got ChatGPT to do this because it would have taken me too long to do the math. But I got ChatGPT to look at all the seasons for all the teams and then create an average based on the average of every single team and then rank them. So that's what this is. So of the 5 seasons, Chicago has the best average at 20,363.6. Montreal Canadiens, Tampa Bay Lightning, Detroit Red Wings, and Dallas Stars all round out the top 5. So if you had to ask me before I looked at any of this data, Neil, what 5 teams do you think had the best attendance in these seasons, or best average attendance rather? I would have said Chicago. I would have said Montreal, only because I'm familiar with the data from like even before these seasons. I likely may have said Tampa Bay. I wouldn't have said Detroit, and I wouldn't have said Dallas. So really 2 surprises in there for me. And the Minnesota Wild in 6th, that's a big shock to me. I would have thought that they would be lower. The Vancouver Canucks I've highlighted in there. I thought that they would be lower. I was really surprised to see them in the top 15. I thought the Edmonton Oilers would be higher, to be completely honest. The Rangers I thought would be way higher. Colorado Avalanche I thought would be higher. Carolina Hurricanes I thought would be way higher. And then down in the bottom 5, Florida, Winnipeg, Islanders, Ottawa Senators, and Arizona Coyotes. Some of this isn't really that fair. Let's go team by team. Florida Panthers, kind of a fair average. They weren't really that great, and now they're one of the best teams in the NHL. So they've seen a big swing of things. So it's weird to see them in the bottom 5 now, but their attendance suffered for 2 decades, so it's not really that surprising in general. The Winnipeg Jets, it's a product of their environment. They have an arena that's just a little bit too small. They're always going to be at least in the bottom, probably 5 or 10 in the league in terms of attendance. The Islanders, that's a tricky one because they went through, I think, like 3 arenas during this year: the Coliseum, Barclays Arena, or Barclays Center, whatever it's called, and then their new one. So they've played in 3 different arenas. That's a difficult thing for the fans to keep up on. There's different capacities in every arena, so not a huge surprise that they're down that low. The Ottawa Senators, again, not really a huge surprise that they're down that low, but I wouldn't have put them in the bottom 5. The arena itself is in Canada, which is outside of Ottawa. It's like 30 minutes outside of Ottawa. It's a pain in the butt to get to. So attendance is going to be low just based on the annoyance factor of getting to the arena. But also the team wasn't really great for a lot of years, so it makes sense, but it's, they really shouldn't be that low. They should be higher for sure. Arizona Coyotes, I mean, if you were to ask me what team would you put last in attendance, I put Arizona. No offense to Arizona Coyotes fans, it is what it is. They also have the same problem of arena that the Ottawa Senators have. Their arena was way out in the middle of nowhere. No one wanted, well, it wasn't in the middle of nowhere, but no one wanted to make the trek out there. So it is what it is. I mean, some of this data is predictable. Some of it is a little bit of a shock. I am very curious to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. I showed you 5 seasons. I showed you lots of numbers. What was in there that really surprised you? Any specific team? Any specific metric in terms of year? Let me know down below. I'm only one person. I can only go based on my perceptions of different teams and arenas and all that stuff. So would really love to hear your opinions and your thoughts down below in the comment section and continue the conversation down there. If you did enjoy this video looking at data, please consider hitting the like button. That helps the channel quite a bit. I know it's cliche for YouTubers to say that, but it really does help the algorithm and help the channel quite a bit. And of course, if you want to see more conversations like this and hockey chat in general, hit the subscribe button if you're new. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I hope you have a great night. Talk to you soon. Adios.